Wheel crossings are on you. Our marshals don't stop the traffic. We'd like you guys to look out for each other, especially in the heat. In the heat. In the heat. In the heat.
Good morning, Ross Robson Running. I hope you're doing well, staying safe, training hard. Yeah, you might not be able to see me. We are just lining up for the start of the lap ultra marathon, and yeah, it's still pretty dark, as you can see here. Race HQ behind me here, loads of people here today, lots of runners. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty cool race. I'll just pan this around so you can see what's going on. So yeah, pretty cool. Mixture of runners and walkers today, mostly runners I think. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. They've just done a bit of a race briefing, and now we're lining up to start in waves, I believe, because there's so many people here. But didn't have a chance to get coffee this morning because it was a bit of a rush, to be honest with you, and it's a nightmare getting here. It's kind of right in the middle of nowhere, but hey, you know, we're here now and we're ready to go. I've got my electrolyte and sports drink here just to get me going before we set off, and then yeah, we'll be ready to go. So I will catch up with you at the start.
My innocence
Okay, so we are off finally, and just come off some single track trail where, due to the number of people, we were just mostly walking. So it took a while to get up to that, but we're going now finally. So hopefully we can get clear now and get a bit of the rhythm going. It's very muggy. Sweating already. We'll see how it'll play a factor today. We'll see how we get on. Drinking lots of fluids. Alright, catch up in a bit. So we are so 4 miles in. It's been slow going, a lot of hiking, been quite big uphills already. So yeah, has been slow. Hopefully it'll pick up a bit. We're on some runnable stuff at the moment. So we'll see how long that continues. Some of these trails are pretty technical and sketchy in areas, so you have to be careful. Seen a few people go over already on some slippery muddy rocks and stuff, so yeah, definitely want to be cautious with. But we'll keep plodding along and catch up in a bit.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, so we're just at the first aid station. Tried to get in out of this one quickly. Had some salted nuts, filled up one of the water bottles. And we're off. Next aid station's in 9 miles. So, alright. Yeah, next aid station's 9 miles. It's so humid today. Proper humid. I think it's going to be taxing on the legs. The pole's going to have to come out soon. I didn't want to get them out too early. Trying to run as much as I can. We'll see. Right, I'll catch up in a bit.
Leather jacket, boot shades, and an
you're not even trying hard. On the road, going nowhere with the top down, while the rest of us are stuck here in our small towns. I wanna know, I wanna know, I wanna know who you are. I wanna know, I wanna know, I wanna know who you are. Still raining now, the drops keep coming, drops keep coming. You lay it down, I can't stop falling, can't stop falling now. Strolling down, see my reflection in the mirror, on top like you, and now I'm feeling like a winner. Headed up to a world without a river, just the thought of it makes my body shiver. I'm on the road, going nowhere with the top down, while the rest of you are stuck there in your small towns. I wanna know, I wanna know, I wanna know who you are. I wanna know, I wanna know, I wanna know. Still raining now, the drops keep coming, drops keep coming. You lay it down, I can't stop falling, can't stop falling. Still raining now, the drops keep coming, drops keep coming. You lay it down, I can't stop falling, can't stop falling now. Still raining now, the drops keep coming, drops keep coming. You lay it down, I can't stop falling, can't stop falling now. I always back down as soon as I see it. The risk of being seen.
Checking. Just done a very hard climb, and yeah, just got to a trig point at the top. So fantastic views. Knackering climb though. Just going to take a minute, catch my breath, let my legs recover, and then we're going to descend and yeah, go on to the next checkpoint, which I think is about 2 miles away. So I'll catch up with you at the checkpoint. Cheers.
Starting from square one, so far away, losing my time, lost passing me by. Losing my time, lost passing me by. I always lose sight as soon as I focus. I feel like I was made for this typical bust. But you know what I like? It's written all over.
Okay, we've done point number 2 now. So we're off to next one. So that's about 14 miles in. So yeah, getting it done slowly. Hot day though. Okay, we have just left the third aid station at 19 miles, so another 7 miles to the next one, and then we'll change of clothes and socks, etc. So yeah, that'd be nice and refreshing, I think. But humidity is a big factor today, for a lot of fluids. But it is a beautiful course, if not very hilly, so legs are taking a bashing, but we'll see. Biggest climbs are still to come in the second half of the course, so see how we get on. See you in a bit. Okay, we about 3 miles away from the next checkpoint, which is about 20 mile mark, or 20 miles left mark, should I say. So 27 miles in. So I think my hat's wonky. Anyway, yeah, so we're going okay. The humidity's a bit of a killer, as I said before, and the legs are feeling it a little bit, but we're getting there slowly but surely. So looking forward to getting to that next aid station. See you in a bit. Alright, the sun's out, and that's going to make it warm, or warmer than it has been. We've just gone past 4th aid station, and that was a good one because we got to change clothes and have hot food and stuff. So yeah, that was a good one. A nice wash, changed my t-shirt, and my hat, and my buff. So I feel a little bit fresher now, although I'm sweating already. But yeah, it's good. So we are 19 miles from the finish. So we're in the teens now, which is nice. So gonna give it a push. There's 2 fells to climb, 2 big ones in this half. So we'll see how we get on. But I'll catch up with you in a bit. Okay, quick update. So, sorry I haven't been able to do as much film as I'd like, but it's just been very hard. Some of the climbs in the fells are completely energy sapping, and I'm just about getting up them, let alone filming. So I'm turning the camera on when I get to the top of them, so you can see what the views are like, but I've not really been able to take much videos going up and down them because it's sketchy, very technical, and yeah, I'm knackered. So that's the other reason really. But we've got 11 miles to go, so we should get in before dark. I reckon 6:30. That'll be about 12.5 hours if I can do that, which is a bit longer than what I wanted, but now that I've experienced those climbs, I think maybe I was a little bit too optimistic. But anyway, we'll get round, which is good, and yeah, it'll be one ticked off, but I'll try and update you a little bit more on the way around this time, because we've done the worst of the climbs now. There's only a small one left, and yeah, also see you at the end, but I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers.
I remember us like yesterday, and how he used to say, love, it doesn't come by itself so easily, but love.
Right, quick update. We've just done the last summit, so which wasn't as bad as the others, but bad enough when you've run a long way. So great view of the lake from here though, look. Not sure how well that comes across on camera, but it's an awesome view. Nearly there now, looking forward to finishing. See you soon. Okay, we are almost done with the lap ultra marathon. We've got under a mile to go, and yeah, I'm glad to be done. Feet are killing me, but we did it. We're nearly there. I'll see you at the finish line. Okay, and we are come to the finish line of the lap ultra. Thank heavens for that. Just come down the final straight past the mountain fuel flags. At least we finished in the light, which is good. That's around 7 hours 15, I think, when we get in. Around about that time. That's fine. I'll take that. Sorry, 7:15 o'clock. About 13.5 hours, or no, 13 hours 15 minutes. I will take that. Oh, that's the lap done. Enjoy the finish line. Thank you. 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 Okay, so yeah, I'm just filming this little update a couple of weeks after the race, just because, as I said in the filming, I didn't have time to film as much as I'd like to have done. It would have been nice to have been be able to get some of those shots in when we were climbing up some of the fells, so you could see a little bit more of what the terrain was like. But to be honest with you, as I said in the video, it's pretty difficult filming when you've got two poles in your hands and you're going up there. I mean, you really needed those poles in my opinion. So it made it tricky to film, and I'll you know, need to find a better way of doing that in the future. So yeah, I will try and do that, especially for next year when we've got a couple of those fell races booked in the calendar already. So yeah, we'll see. But really, just wanted to give you a bit of an overview about the race itself, really. So quite a number of people doing that race, as I said at the start of the video, and it was quite a congested start line. So we started in waves, and yeah, they trickle fed us out. However, there was a lot of congestion at the start. The start is quite narrow, so you do start off along the field, as you'd have seen, and you're running between the flags there. But once you get to the bottom of that field, you're all going through a single gate at the bottom, and then it's a single track trail for quite a period of time until you get to a road. So a lot of that is walking. You just can't get away from it. There's just too many people. It's a little bit frustrating, so you do lose quite a bit of time on that. Once you get onto that road, there was a bit of running, but then back to single track. A lot of it uphill at that point, so you're walking anyway or hiking, but there was a lot of people in front of you, so you have to be patient, get past people. But it was once you got past those guys, it was, you know, people in front of you, it was right, and we were able to get running and moving a bit. But I would say, in general, the race itself was quite a tough race, considering it's aimed at people to do their first ultra. I would say it's not a good one for your first ultra unless you live in the lakes. If you do and you're used to that terrain, then fine. If, like me, you come from the south and you're not used to running fells, then it's not a wise idea to do that as your first ultra. I would say there are others that you should be doing first and then building up to that later on. The terrain itself, complete mixed bag, but most of it pretty technical. When you're going through the foresty sections at the start, it's all tree roots and rocks, quite slippery rocks as well. I saw a few people go over, a few people hurt their bums stepping on some of those slippery rocks. There was a bit of mud around, and of course wet trail shoes and mud and rock don't mix too well, so you've got to get your footing right, and if the balance isn't there, you're going to go pretty quickly, and a couple of people did, so there's a few sore bums around. But yeah, mixed bag. So a little bit of road, not a lot of road really, most of it all trail, and single track, most of it ungroomed single track as well. So you were pretty much either finding your own route or running across a route that wasn't well trodden. It was waymarked excellently, really good waymarking from the team who organised the lap. But I would say that the trails are pretty tricky. There's not a lot out there that are well trodden or groomed. So especially when you get towards the fells, which for me, although there was a lot of climbing throughout the whole of the race, the fells come in the second half of the race. We did quite a lot of hill work at the start. There was definitely quite a bit of hill work going in there just to kind of get up a little bit higher, working your way towards the fells. But the second half of the race, yeah, there were a couple of biggies, which you had to go up, which is pretty cool, but they were steep. But yeah, we'll come to that in a minute. The aid stations were good. I would say well stocked in general. Some more so than others, but pretty well stocked. The halfway aid station was particularly well stocked. Lots of food there, hot pizzas as well, which was nice. That's where people's drop bags were. I didn't use the drop bag service this time around. I wish I had, in hindsight, because of the state my feet were in at the end, but I didn't. I just carried it all in my pack. But I did make a mistake and I didn't change my socks, and I probably should have done. Yeah, my feet were in a bit of a mess at the end of it. We'll come to that in a minute. But yeah, the aid stations are all pretty good, well spaced apart, 11k-ish in between each aid station, 6 in total. The last one was literally just before the end, and it had a few snacks, but mainly just for water, really, just in case you were running low. But yeah, good. So terrain wise, as I said, very rocky, very mixed, very technical. The climbs were hard work, very steep in places, but the descents were worse. They were just as steep as the climbs, but coming down it put a lot of pressure on your feet, and that's where my feet suffered the most on the downhills. I would say that the poles are a necessity, but even so, good shoes and regular change of socks is all equally a necessity. Your feet, particularly, we were doing it on a hot day. The humidity was just bonkers out there. We were sweating away after running a couple of miles, literally drenched through. And even at the top of the fells, that didn't go away. It was still hot and sweaty. We were expecting a bit of a breeze up there. There wasn't one. So yeah, that all contributed, obviously, to the feet, which were equally as sweaty and wet. And then, of course, you've got those steep downhills, and your toes are back and forward in the shoes. Even though my shoes are quite well tied, I probably should have stopped and tied them again, actually. But yeah, I literally come away with a blister on every single toe on both feet. The balls of my feet and the heels of my feet all had blisters. Incredibly sore. It was fine running on the flats. I could cope with that. Going up hills, I could cope with that. But coming downhill, it was coming to be a bit of a nightmare before when we got to the last fell. But so yeah, some lessons there to learn on that. But in general, it was all pretty good. So I've just got a copy of the map here that we were given. This is a waterproof map, although it still marks, as you can see there. So just particularly on the second half of the route, there's 2 fells that you need to look out for. And this is obviously in September. So in September, we are going anti-clockwise. So the big fells, the big climbs are at the end of the route. When you do it in May, you're going clockwise. They're at the start, so that's hence why it's quicker to do the course in May, because you're predominantly going downhill. In September, it's the reverse of that. So 2 fells that you should look out for. The biggest climb is Wansfell. That is 487 meters. So Wansfell Pike is where you'll climb. You go through base stones as well, which is kind of the highest point. And then you descend into Ambleside, and then following Ambleside you climb up Logrig Felt, and that is 335 meters. So they're the 2 biggies that you've got. Equally, you've got other hills which just feel like fells, to be honest with you, when you're not used to running them. They're pretty high. And yeah, it's certainly an experience when you're not a fell runner or you're not used to doing that. So it's a great introduction if you've been doing ultra marathons like me for some time, and you've racked up a few and you want to get into fell running. It's a great introduction to fell running because it's not ridiculous. You know, you're not climbing Snowdonia or doing one of those, which is going to be tougher, but it's tough enough to know that you've been running a fell. So I would say it's a really good introduction to fell running, and that's certainly what I've used it for. I've got a couple of races coming up next year, Ultra Snowdonia, Lakeland 50 as well, and I'm probably going to throw another one in there as well in order just to get myself up to speed. And this is a great introduction to that. So I'm going to be going into those races next year with a different mindset about how to prepare myself, how to look after my feet a bit better, because I'm not really one for getting blisters, but so this was a bit of a shock to me that to be getting them quite so bad, but equally never run on terrain that rough before, so yeah, eye opener. But otherwise, really cool race. I would really recommend it to everybody. The organisers did an amazing job. The night before, you've got the camping and everything. That's cool in the field. So I stayed in the hotel. I just don't get on well with camping. But loads of people camped there. There was a lot of people there. They did a really good job of it. There was food and everything the night before, and then of course when you got back in the morning, as well, there was coffee and things like that. I didn't get a chance to have it because there's a bit of a mission getting from the hotel to the race HQ. So I was cutting it a bit fine to get coffee, but if you get there in time, there's coffee, there's food and everything in the morning. Of course, when you get back from the race, you get free food at the end of that as well, and you can also get yourself a beer or some coffee and whatever at the end, ice cream as well, ice lollies and all that sort of thing. So yeah, the setup's really good, the organisation's good, the good sponsors are good. They've got Dynafit as the main sponsor, along with Black Diamond and Mountain Fuel as well, as well as a couple of others. So yeah, really good race. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I tried to give you a sense of the conditions that we were running in the images which are coming up next. But yeah, otherwise that's it. So I really hope you enjoyed it. There's links in the description below to the lap. Yeah, check it out and see if you can sign up. Unfortunately, I think it's already, next year's is already full. Literally, I think as soon as it's finished, a few days later, the entries open up and they fill up again. So yeah, keep an eye on it. Maybe you can either get a late spot or a cancellation or something, or look at going into it for 2025. But yeah, that's it for now. Train hard, race hard, have fun. Until next time, I'll see you soon.